Welcome back to Tech, Tesla, and Trends. Today, I thought I'd touch base on misconceptions that I think people get where Elon Musk is concerned. Many would say that I'm a fanboy. Perhaps, but I am one that takes a look at what he's actually doing and makes a decision based on reality of what is actually occurring in the world as to whether or not the production numbers or an estimated plan can occur. And many times, from my perspective at least, this is an area that Elon just does not get. He has an overly optimistic filter that is applied to what they're working on. I think that there is a desire to get things done faster than may actually be possible in the world that he is functioning with, as far as what people can actually deliver to his desired goal. This isn't necessarily a failing on his part. There's an argument to be made there that it is, but I think in this case it's more of an existing bias that is within his character or his the way he sees the world. And honestly, I can't fault him for that optimism, and it comes from the spectrum nature of where he's at. Asperger's enables people to see the world differently. And unless you are familiar with people who have Asperger's and have been around people on the spectrum as I have children who are on the spectrum, and I spend a lot of time around kids that are on the spectrum. And I can tell you that it's a gift in a different way. They're built differently than those who are coming at the world from a quote unquote normal perspective. It's just something that we'll never be able to understand entirely. It is a different way of viewing the world. And Elon Musk is absolutely in that category. And if you're trying to make him fit into a box that is quote unquote normal, like a normal CEO, I've heard that on the news multiple times. Why can't Elon just be like a normal CEO? I got news for you. That's just never going to happen, ever. That's the reality of Elon Musk. He is his own individual, and he's never going to change that for any amount of peer pressure. In fact, the more pressure that's applied, it seems to have and it's really hard to explain this, but it does have a component that strengthens him. Kind of like, as you compress coal down over a large amount of time, it can compress into a diamond. Well, in this case, the amount of pressure that is on him, it's hard on him, and it is something that he struggles with, but it's not the same way that it would impact most people. The amount of stress that he inflicts upon himself by choice, and that's a key point, it's by choice, is not something most people choose to involve in their life. It just isn't. And that's very hard for people to accept. But that is the nature of being on the spectrum. In Elon's case, it's part of who he is at a foundational core that I'm not even certain he fully recognizes. But it is something that those of us who are familiar with can look at that behavior and look at the manner in which he operates and see those tendencies and how it is woven into his character. Now, every kid on the spectrum is different, but there are some similarities there. I don't know all of the specifics. I don't know him personally, and it's just looking at how the kids that I have worked with and that I know and understand their struggles, and it is something that is very fundamental to looking at how Elon runs companies, how Elon interacts with people. He has expectations of just being productive. That's who he is. And as such, he expects those around him to be in that same boat. He doesn't expect them to have the same level of overproduction that he's at that 100 plus hours a week sometimes. That's not his expectation. But he expects you'd better be in the office over 40 hours a week. Because if you're not even trying. And that's very hard for some of the younger generation and some of the older generation to wrap their brains around, that there's an expectation of production, not just time. Time doesn't matter. Production matters. And that is a very important distinction. And as you look at some of the things that have gone wrong, or where he's miscalculated, or lots of things he's tweeted out and then deleted, it usually is he's realizes, oh, that's not possible right now, or yeah, I thought that might be something we could do, but nope, can't be done. Somebody will come to him and tell him. And that is one of the character traits of Elon that is truly impressive, is his willingness to be corrected. And it's not from a standpoint of he wants to be corrected, but he expects those around him to point out where he is wrong, because fundamentally the truth matters to him. And that truth is one of production, one of creating and moving humanity towards a multiplanetary status. Part of that plan is making sure that Earth is transitioned to a renewable energy basis, and that the traffic isn't to hell, and all of these other components of each and every one of his companies. They are part of that grand vision that he has, and that he is striving to achieve within his lifetime. He works at it harder than anybody else, and that's why he has achieved the success he has. If you work essentially 3 times longer than any other competitor in 1 year, you will accomplish not just 3 times more, because there's a compounding effect on the number of hours and the actual production that's involved in that. And you can look at that and you can see that across the board. There's a lot of people that are really negative about Elon Musk. They don't understand him, and they're going to be, they take that other that Elon is, with Asperger's and his overall awkwardness in life, and they're going to throw stones because they don't understand. And that, thankfully, he lives in this era, because quite frankly, in another era, he'd likely have been burned at the stake for being some kind of a mad, crazy, insane lunatic. In this age, he's able to express his genius and work towards what he's seeking to achieve. That's not something you see every day. And that's what makes him unique. It's what makes him a lightning rod. It's what makes him tick. And as people are willing to actually listen to what he's saying rather than take their own bias and apply it to him. Because when you have Republicans listen to Elon Musk, they hear, oh, he's a great Republican. He's pro this or that and moving it to the right. When you have Democrats look at something, oftentimes they hear, oh, well, he's stopping this or moving that. He's more something or other. He might be Democrat one decade and, oh, now he's a Republican this decade. No, he's more of a radical centrist, if anything. And that is something that is very difficult for people to understand. It's where he's at. It's not where they're at. They apply their bias and their personal standings to it. We have to stop doing that. Not just for Elon, but for ourselves as well. As individuals, we need to recognize we are individuals. We have the opportunity to meet people where they're at and to have conversations, share what we know. We may not agree with everybody every time, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It is part of having a diverse experience and conversation and civilization. If we cannot express the ideas that are within our minds and have conversations to explain and to express the philosophies of what we are and what we believe, there's not much value in what we're doing. We become mind-numbed robots, automatons for whatever state happens to control the media and or the current king or pasha. It doesn't matter at that point. You're not an individual. You are their chattel or slave. And that's not an acceptable outcome for humanity. That is one of the primary reasons I believe Elon Musk purchased Twitter. It wasn't just a desire for free speech. It was a desire for humanity to be able to have a more open conversation with itself. And that is something worthwhile. It is worth fighting for. And that is why Elon spends the hours he does. It is why he bought Twitter and why he is sleeping there on the floor, just like he did during production hell for the Model 3. He goes where the bottleneck is. That's what's in his nature. That's who he is. And we just need to accept that. That's the difference. He's different than you and I. He is built differently. You will hear that said time and time again by those who have worked with him. He's built differently. He thinks differently. He acts differently. He is different. It is okay. And that is acceptable. What's more, it should be celebrated. You do not have geniuses like Elon Musk wander through society very often. And their presence within society enriches us all if we're willing to participate in the greater good. Now, what that good is, that's up for you to decide. You have to decide whether that greater good matches what you believe good is. That's where some of the disagreements come in. Some people aren't interested in a free society with free conversation between individuals. Some people are not accepting of the idea of going to Mars. Some people do not want to have FSD taking over and driving them from point A to point B because they are giving up their individuality, their autonomy to make decisions and to go where they want to go. And all of that is an okay and acceptable position to have. We can have those conversations as a society, as individuals. We don't have to hate on each other. We just need to have conversations and seek to understand one another. Because in the understanding, we actually find that we're more alike than we might have thought. I would love to hear more from you in the comments below. As with those that have commented before, I do my best to give you a real answer. I'm not going to blow you off. I'm not going to try and nuke you. If I can answer your question, I will. And I look forward to the next set of questions in there. Is there a perspective on Elon that you think I am totally oblivious to because I'm a total fanboy? Or is there a component of him that you believe is unaddressed in my observations? I'd love to hear what you think. We'll talk to you later in the comments below.